Hey guys, it's MMA Vulture coming at you live with UFC Fight Night, Moicano versus St. Denis. And we're going to go ahead and jump right into the first bout of the night. And the first bout of the night is Bolaji Oki versus Chris Duncan. And for this fight, I'm going to go ahead and pick Chris Duncan. And I'm going to tell you why. I think Chris Duncan is the better fighter in terms of boxing and in terms of grappling. I think that he's the more seasoned fighter. I think Bolaji Oki still needs to prove himself more. I think I'm still a little bit hesitant on him. He is a pressure fighter that walks you down. He is also very speedy, very quick. He has a nice stiff jab. He's a good boxer with nice snappy low kicks and high kicks. He does mix up his shots very, very well, as we saw in his fights against Dylan Salvador and Cuamba. He did end up overwhelming Dylan and knocking him out, showing off his striking, which I do believe he has great striking. He has decent grappling. He snubbed a couple of Cuamba's takedowns in his last fight, so his takedown defense is pretty decent, I'd say. But Cuamba doesn't have the grappling abilities like Chris Duncan does. I think Chris Duncan is levels above him in terms of that. I think Chris Duncan is going to be on par with Oki's striking. I think he's a dangerous striker. I think they both have that one-punch knockout power. I think that Chris Duncan, his advantage is going to be on the grappling side of things. I do think that he's still going to fare really well on the feet against Bolaji Oki. I think that Chris Duncan is going to take down Bolaji Oki, and he maintains control of people really well when he gets them down to the ground. His takedowns are very strong. He did pick apart Ashmouz in their fight. His striking looked great against Ashmouz. Ashmouz obviously is a power puncher, and he handled some of Ashmouz's strikes very well. That did clip him pretty cleanly. So I think that I'm going to go ahead and pick Chris Duncan, like I said previously, because he's the more seasoned fighter, and I think he's gone up against better competition, in my opinion. I think Oki needs to prove himself a little bit more, and I think Chris Duncan can put Oki out, or even this could go to decision, but I think that Duncan could ultimately win via submission, and that's my call for this. I think he's going to overwhelm and pressure Oki, get the takedowns, and ultimately catch that neck and submit Oki. That is my call for this fight. Moving right along to the next bout of the night in Nora Cornolle versus Jacqueline Cavalcanti. And man, this is actually a rematch. They have fought prior, and Jacqueline Cavalcanti actually did win. And I'm gonna go ahead and pick her again. I think that she's gonna beat Nora again. I think she is the cleaner striker, the more patient fighter, and she just picks her shots very well and strategically. She likes to strike from the outside. She mixes up her shots to the body and to the head very well. She has great footwork, which is how she finds her openings for her shots. She looked great against Farron, outstriking her and showing how good her striking is. I think Cavalcanti is the real deal. I think she has good grappling to go along with her good striking. I think she is legit. And Nora is a pressure fighter that likes to walk you down, sometimes leaving herself open to shots. She is a good boxer. She has nice kicks as well. Nasty knees and elbows on the inside. Dirty, dirty knees and elbows. She has decent grappling. Her takedown defense is kind of mediocre. She got out-grappled by Josephine Edwards, in my opinion. And I feel like Jocelyn, not Josephine, I thought Jocelyn low-key kind of won that fight, but a lot of people aren't saying anything about it. Go back and watch this fight if you haven't. And then she came and got a nasty knee to the body on Melissa Mullins for the knockout. But I honestly still think that Jacqueline Cavalcanti, the young prospect, is getting better each and every fight, and I think that she's going to overwhelm Nora and ultimately outstrike her, maintaining distance. And if it does come close in distance, I think Cavalcanti will take Nora down and smother her and just overwhelm her. I think she's the better all-around fighter, and I'm gonna go ahead and pick Cavalcanti. Like I said, I see her winning via decision. I definitely do think that this goes to decision. I don't see this ending early, and that is my pick for this fight. Moving right along to the next bout in Daniel Barez versus Victor Altamirano. And in this fight, man, this is really just two mediocre fighters going at it, in my opinion. And I'm going to go ahead and pick Daniel Barez. I think that he is the better fighter in terms of striking. I think that he closes the distance really well. I think that he is a good striker in terms of closing the distance. He's really quick. He has a nice stiff jab, and in terms of grappling, I think that if Altamirano is going to have a slight grappling advantage. I think that Altamirano is kind of a mediocre fighter. I mean, he fought Felipe Dos Santos and lost. Felipe Dos Santos just got beat by Lima and looked decent. And then lost to also a veteran in Tim Elliott, and then got a decision over Vincus Salvador. And he's an all-around mediocre fighter. His striking is decent. He doesn't really have power. I think Daniel Barez is going to have the advantage on the feet. I think Daniel is the stronger fighter on the feet. I think that in terms of grappling, we're going to be surprised that I think Daniel is going to be able to hold his own against Altamirano in terms of the grappling. I think Altamirano is just an all-around mediocre fighter. I think Daniel Barez is as well, but I think he's ultimately a little bit better of an all-around fighter than Altamirano, and I see him winning in a back-and-forth bout. I think that this is a coin flip. If you flip a coin, you're going to have just as good of a chance of picking who wins. But give me Daniel Barez and a decision. I think that this goes to decision. Moving right along to the next bout of the night in a ladies fight in Ailin Perez versus Daria. I'm not even going to have to try and pronounce that. And this is a good fight here. This is two strikers going at it here. I think that Ailin Perez is my pick here. I think that she's the better fighter all around. I think that Daria is kind of a mid-level fighter. In her bout against Rendon, she looked decent. Her striking looked good. Her takedown defense looked all right. She doesn't have the best grappling, in my opinion. I think that she does have good striking. She has legit knockout power, as we can see in her knockout against Marie. I think that Ailin is just the more dangerous striker and grappler. I think this is going to be a striking match, and I think Ailin is going to be able to outstrike and overwhelm Daria. I think that Ailin is dangerous on the feet. She beat Jocelyn Edwards, and Jocelyn Edwards is a great fighter and a great striker. I think that she showed in this fight that she can strike with the best in Jocelyn Edwards. So we're going to see Ailin Perez take on Daria, and I think that she ultimately overwhelms and outstrikes Daria and smothers her. I think that Ailin is a great fighter, and Daria's a mid-level fighter, although she does have good striking. So it's going to be a war back and forth, but I think Ailin's going to ultimately get the better of Daria and win via decision. I think this obviously goes to decision. I think it's going to be a great battle between these two. moving right along, we have our next fight of the night, and I think this is gonna be a banger fight in Taylor Lapilus versus Vince Morales. I think that this is gonna be a banger fight. This could even be fight of the night in Taylor Lapilus versus Vince Morales, and I'm going Taylor Lapilus, the clean, more technical fighter. I think that Vince Morales is a pressure fighter that likes to smother and has decent boxing. He has clean, quick combinations, has a nice jab, has good grappling, decent takedown defense. He does have nasty submissions. I will say that he has nasty submissions. But I think that Taylor Lapilus and his clean technical fighting will do a lot better against Vince Morales, because sometimes Vince does get a little bit wild and chaotic. I think Lapilus will stay patient, pick his shots very wisely. He has great boxing. He has a good snappy leg kick. He is very quick. He does have, I think he's going to have the grappling advantage in this. He has good takedown defense. He gets up very quickly. Whenever he does get taken down, he bursts to his feet very quickly. I think he outstrikes and overwhelms Vince Morales. I think that it's going to be a great fight in which Taylor Lapilus stays patient, outstrikes, and ultimately could end up putting Morales away early. I do see that happening, and I'm going to go ahead and pick Lapilus to knock out Vince Morales early. I think he overwhelms and outstrikes him and could ultimately knock him out. I think that's the call here. Knockout by Taylor Lapilus. That is what I'm going with. And we're going to go ahead and jump right to the next fight, in which is Ludovit Klein versus Roosevelt Roberts. And, I mean, there's only one way you go with this fight. I mean, it's Ludovit Klein all the way. Roosevelt Roberts is a mediocre fighter, to put it at best. He is a mediocre fighter. He has decent boxing. He maintains his distance well in his fights. He is more of a point fighter, kind of outstrikes you, keeps you at distance, strikes you from the outside, kicks you from the outside, and just wins via points. He lacks grappling, in my opinion. I think he doesn't really have the best grappling. His takedown defense is decent, but overall, Ludovit Klein is the better fighter. He is a great striker with powerful hands. He has a nice stiff jab, nice kicks, good grappling. He's just an all-around great fighter. He has strong takedowns. Like, he is just a check all the boxes type of fighter, and I think he is going to run over Roosevelt Roberts. I think he could ultimately just take Roosevelt Roberts down and win via submission. I think he just ultimately overwhelms and gets rid of Roosevelt Roberts early. I think that this goes nowhere near the decision. I think it ends first round, as a matter of fact. I'm going to go ahead and call Ludovit Klein to submit Roosevelt Roberts. I think that he takes him down and smothers and pressures him and ultimately grabs that neck and submits Roosevelt Roberts. And that's my call for this fight. Ludovit Klein is the only option here. And moving right along to the next fight of the night in Oumar Sy versus Dawon Jung. And this is another interesting fight. And Dawon Jung, who's coming off of the 3-fight losing streak, and he's not a bad fighter, man. He's a good striker. He mixes up his shots very well. He does have that one-punch knockout power. He's got some punching power. I am a little bit worried about his chin. He's a little chinny, I think. He lacks ground game. He notably got owned by Olderberg on the ground. He is a mid-level grappler, in my opinion. I think that's where Oumar Sy is going to have the advantage. I think he's going to be have the grappling advantage. I think Oumar's tall and lengthy fight style is going to give Dawon Jung a problem. He does, as you guys can see, have a significant reach against Dawon Jung. I think that Oumar Sy is a great boxer. He has a quick, stiff jab. Ultimately, he is a grappler. I think that's where he's going to take this down, take Dawon Jung down to the ground and smother him and maintain control of him when he gets him to the ground. I think that Oumar Sy is going to manhandle Dawon Jung. Don't get me wrong, though, because Dawon Jung is a great fighter. Like I said, he does on the feet. This is going to be a legit battle, and I am excited to see this. I think that Oumar Sy is going to ultimately get the better of Dawon Jung, and he's going to be better on the feet and in the grappling department. But Dawon Jung is a legit fighter, so don't sleep on him. But give me Oumar Sy to beat Dawon Jung. Moving right along to Ian Cutelaba versus Ivan Erslan. And man, I've been going back and forth with this one, but I gotta go with Ivan Erslan. I think that he is the better fighter here. I think Ian Cutelaba is a gatekeeper journeyman. He is a decent boxer. He is more of a chaotic fighter that is reckless and swings wild sometimes, and leading him to getting clipped and getting hit a lot. He has good grappling. He is strong in the clinches, I will say that. But I think Ivan Erslan's pressure, heavy fighting is going to give him problems. I think his powerful kickboxing base is going to give Ian Cutelaba a lot of problems. He's got good boxing with heavy hands. I think he could ultimately clip Ian. I think he has nice hooks, great fast kicks. He likes to brawl on the feet, where I think that sometimes Cutelaba also likes to do that, where I think that Ivan could have the clear advantage in terms of striking. I think Cutelaba is going to have the grappling advantage, but overall, I think Erslan's going to be able to hold his own in the grappling department. I think that his takedown defense is pretty good. I think he's going to be able to stop Cutelaba in terms of grappling, and I think he's going to get the better of him on the feet. He could ultimately knock out Cutelaba, and I'm excited for this fight. I think that this could be a great fight. Give me Ivan Erslan, like I said, in what is a brawl. Moving right along to a great fight in the start of the main card in Fares Ziam versus Matt Frivola. And man, I have been going back and forth with these two on who to pick. And ultimately, I gotta go with Matt Frivola. I think that he is gonna overwhelm and pressure Ziam. I think that Ziam is a good technical point fighter. I think he likes to strike from the outside, maintain his distance, and just outstrike you. I think that he has good boxing. He does have good calf kicks. He's a decent grappler. I think he's going to have the striking advantage over Matt Frivola. But don't get me wrong, Matt Frivola is a good boxer who has quick hands. He does have legit knockout power. He knocked out Drew Dober, so that is something to note. He closes the distance very well. He is not only a strong boxer, he also has great grappling. He's strong in the clinches. He is obviously gonna have the obvious grappling advantage over Fares Ziam, in my opinion. I think he has the complete grappling advantage. I think his way to win this is turning it into dirty boxing. I think he needs to close the distance, get inside, throw knees, throw elbows. I think that that's the way for Matt Frivola to beat Ziam. I think if he stays on the outside, he's going to get tagged up a lot. I think he needs to close the distance and overwhelm, out-grapple Ziam and take him to the ground. I think Matt Frivola is going to beat Ziam and steamroll over him. I'm excited to see this match. I think that it's going to be a great one, but give me Matt Frivola to beat somebody in Ziam that is a point fighter ultimately. Moving right along to another great fight in Morgan Shade versus Gabriel Miranda. And I mean, like, this is kind of like a lot of the fights on this card. There's really only one way to go. Give me Morgan. I think he is the better fighter all around. I think that Gabriel Miranda is a pressure fighter that has decent boxing. When he throws, he looks a little bit clunky and awkward in his striking. I think he sometimes throws a little bit wild. He like throws looping shots. Like, he's just very wild sometimes. And he is a good grappler. He has great submissions. He is ultimately a threat on the feet, or is a threat in the submissions. I think that he has the grappling advantage, but I think that a lot of people shouldn't sleep on Morgan's grappling abilities. I think he has decent grappling, and I think he's going to prove it in this fight. I think that Morgan is the more clean and technical fighter on the feet. I think he's the better boxer. He has a clean, quick jab, does have knockout power. He's a decent grappler. He has strong takedown defense. He did lose a close split decision to Chepe. And I think he ultimately is going to be a Gabriel Miranda. I think that he is the better all-around fighter. I think Gabriel Miranda is going to have a little bit better of jiu-jitsu grappling. But I think that Morgan is going to fare well in the grappling department, where I think it's not going to be that much of an advantage. I think it's going to be a very slight advantage, and I think that Morgan is a way better striker on the feet than Gabriel Miranda. And we're going to see that. Give me Morgan to win this via decision. I don't see this. It could end early, but I think that it goes to decision. Give me Morgan to beat Gabriel Miranda in a back-and-forth bout. Moving right along to the main card, in which we have Kevin Jousset versus Bryan Battle. And this is another great fight that I'm looking forward to on this card, in which Kevin Jousset is a patient, calculated, calm fighter. He's a good boxer. He has a stiff, quick jab. He knows how to mix up his shots very well. He has great low kicks, great snappy kicks. He's decent grappler. His takedown defense is mediocre in my opinion. I think that's where he kind of struggles, is in the grappling department. I think Bryan Battle is my call here. I think that he is the better grappler. He has the obvious grappling advantage. He maintains control of you when he gets you down to the ground really well. He is a quick, speedy fighter. He has underrated kickboxing abilities. He's a smother and pressure heavy fighter. He has good boxing. I think ultimately he's gonna be the better fighter on the feet and on the ground against Kevin Jousset. I think that Bryan Battle is the better fighter. Kevin Jousset actually had a tough fight against Kit Campbell here, and had a great fight against Crosby here. He is a great fighter, don't get me wrong. He is a patient, calculated striker. Like I said, he is a great fighter, but I think that Bryan Battle is just the better fighter here. And Bryan Battle has faced some great fighters in AJ Fletcher, Gabe Green, did lose to Renato, but Renato is a great fighter and a great prospect. So give me Bryan Battle, the Butcher, to beat Kevin Jousset Air. I think that Bryan Battle in a back and forth battle makes it look kind of easy. I think he's going to be the better striker and the obvious better grappler. I think that he smothers Kevin Jousset. If he has any problems on the feet, he takes Jousset to the ground, and I think Jousset isn't going to be able to really defend against Bryan Battle's grappling abilities. So give me Bryan Battle to beat Kevin Jousset. Moving right along to the next fight, in William Gomis versus Joanderson Brito. And there's a lot of great fights on this card, a lot of great fights, and I'm gonna go ahead and pick Joanderson Brito. I think that his bully pressure heavy fight style is going to help him in this fight. I think he's a good striker with powerful striking, power in his hands. He can knock you out. He has that one punch knockout power. He's a good grappler. So he's not only a great striker, he has the ability to take you down to the ground and smother you. He has strong takedowns. He looks very strong in the clinches. He has the obvious grappling advantage in this fight, and I think he's going to use that to his best abilities as well as his striking. I think he is the better fighter over William Gomis, who does have a clean kickboxing style. He is a good striker. He manages distance really well. He likes to strike from the outside. He's quick when he enters the pocket, gets out very quickly. I think in the grappling department, he is a little bit mid-tier. I think his takedown defense is a little bit suspicious. So that's kind of why I'm going with Joanderson Brito. I think that in terms of striking, I think Gomis might have the better striking, but I'm not really. I don't really think so. I think Joanderson Brito is side by side with him in terms of striking. I think Brito definitely has the grappling advantage, and I think that's where he's going to take it down to. I think he's going to take Gomis down to the ground and ultimately win via submission. I think this could be a great fight in which Joanderson Brito gets the better of William Gomis on the ground. And I'm happy to see this fight this weekend, that's for sure. I'm definitely going to be watching Joanderson this weekend. That is one of the fighters I definitely want to see this weekend. Moving right along to the co-main event of the evening, in which it is Nassourdine Imavov versus Brendan Allen. And man, this is an interesting one, in which Brendan Allen is a fast starter versus Nassourdine Imavov, which is a little bit of a slow starter. He doesn't really like to go all out in that first round. He likes to calculate. He likes to sit back and kind of watch what you're doing and pick up on what you're doing and apply it to the next round. What he's gonna do. He's a good striker. He has a quick, precise jab. He has nice low kicks. He mixes up his shots very, very well, and he's a good grappler. I think Imavov has just as good of grappling as Brendan Allen. I think that a lot of people are going to be shocked when it comes down to the ground game. I think Imavov is going to have a slight disadvantage on the ground, but I think he's still going to fare very well on the ground. I think that Brendan Allen is going to have trouble on the feet. I think that he is a good boxer with quick hands, but I think in terms of striking, I think that Nassourdine is going to have the advantage. I think that Brendan Allen is a great grappler, strong in the clinches, maintains control really well when he gets you down, and he is dangerous with his submissions. Very, very dangerous with his submissions. So I do worry as to Brendan starting very fast and taking down Nassourdine early and how it's going to look if that does happen in that first round. But I think Nassourdine's takedown defense is good. I think it's a little bit suspicious, but I think that he should fare well against Brendan Allen. I think that the longer that this fight goes on, I think it's going to favor Nassourdine a lot more than it's going to favor Brendan Allen. I am going to go ahead and pick Nassourdine. I think that he's going to surprise a lot of people in the grappling department. I think he's going to have the obvious striking advantage. But I think that he's going to surprise a lot of people in the grappling department. So give me Nassourdine Imavov to beat Brendan Allen in a great, great back and forth battle. Moving right along to the main event of this fight, or of this card. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you guys haven't already. And we're going to go ahead and jump right to the main event in Renato Moicano versus Benoit Saint Denis. And man, I am excited for this fight. I think that this is going to be a amazing, amazing fight between these two. I think that Benoit coming off of his loss against Dustin Poirier, obviously he had staph infection, and I think that had a lot to do with that fight. He looked noticeably gassed and just tired. He did not look like himself at all, in my opinion. I think that this is going to be a great fight. With Money Moicano is a patient, strategic fighter. He has decent striking with a clean jab. He's noticeably better in the grappling department. He's a great grappler with strong takedowns. I think he's going to have the grappling advantage in this fight, but I think that a lot of people are going to be surprised by Benoit's grappling abilities. I think that it's going to be fairly close in terms of the grappling. I think that Benoit has great grappling and his takedown defense is good. And not only that, he has powerful hands. He can drop you, and I think that he could ultimately knock out Moicano. I think that Moicano gets hit a lot on the feet sometimes. I think he leaves openings, but I do think that Moicano is going to want to take Benoit down to the ground. I think striking advantage definitely goes to Benoit. So I think that he could ultimately catch Moicano a couple of times, and Moicano will end up taking this down to the ground where he believes he has the grappling advantage. But give me Benoit Saint Denis to overwhelm, overpressure, and outstrike and beat Moicano. I think he's gonna surprise people in the grappling department and smother and beat Moicano on the feet and on the ground. And that's all for today. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and peace.